Hi everyone, Bernard here with another Citizen vlog, and it's a City Pass today, so it's a little special look back in time with a moments in time, a Manchester City moments in time. And today I'm going to take you back to an important day in the modern world of Manchester City. I think it's post takeover. Obviously I usually go a lot further back than that with these little history vlogs, but we're only going back to the 14th of September 2011 and a little game against Napoli in something called the Champions League. Please, if you're new to this channel, push that subscribe button, push the notifications so you know these little vlogs and information vlogs on City past and present are coming out. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Please tell your friends, all your City friends especially. Please, let's get those subscribers up, and thumbs ups are nice as well. Views are nice, but if you can give us that little thumbs up, just takes a split second, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Yeah, so we're going back to the 14th of September 2011. There'll be various images flying up on the screen of various things as I'm doing this vlog, but yeah, me and my lad were at this one. Manchester City versus Napoli. City's Champions League debut, wasn't it? I mean, not since the catastrophic venture in 1968, was it? I was there as well. I wasn't with my lad though, I was with my dad in the Platt Lane stand in 1968. First round defeat, obviously over two legs to the mighty, well they weren't so mighty, they were rated second division sort of standard by most people, the mighty Fenerbahce of Turkey, obviously not mid-table second division as well, not even promotion chasing. So that was great, wasn't it? Mr. Malcolm Allison's immortal words. Obviously we did go on to sort of fulfill it a little bit, didn't we, in the season after perhaps, but his immortal words is that Allison said we'll scare Europe to death, and obviously that came back sadly to haunt us. Yeah, 18th of September, so virtually to the day as the anniversary of the 14th of September 2011, so 43 years ago. So it's just as eagerly awaited as well, that. I mean, that was, and we had United in it at the same time. That was quite rare those days, obviously. I mean, it certainly never happened before that both Manchester clubs were actually in the European Cup that season. Obviously, we didn't last very long, but there you go, did we? It was all to end in tears. So that was that, but perhaps that's another moment in time, isn't it? That's another moment in time, and perhaps I'll look back and what I can remember of that night. Obviously I'll have to read through reviews, etc., and look at pictures, etc., because my brain's not that clever at remembering back to 1968, but I was there with my dad anyway. Yeah, we clinched the Champions League place the season previously, weren't we? Mr. Crouch, wasn't it? Was it Mr. Crouch own goal? I remember the season before we were devastated, weren't we? I think Crouch scored against us, didn't he? And obviously, just as these things happen in football, things balance out, don't they? And obviously, Crouch is involved in our goal that sort of put us into the Champions League, which was fantastic. And then, of course, we went on to win the FA Cup after that, which was even more fantastic. So it was a great season, wasn't it? Champions League qualification and FA Cup. That'd be a pretty average season for City as I'm recording this in 2020. But there you go. It goes without saying there was a little bit of not. Well, you know, you've always got your York brigade. I was at York, and I was such and such a brigade, and obviously a little bit of distaste for the Champions League and the commercial side of it. But we all know. I think obviously I knew deep down that this is what this Abu Dhabi group had wanted. We've got to be competing in these sort of things, and for us to improve as a team, whether we like it or not, you know, we get all these glory hunters from other countries. We have to do well in this competition. So, but there was a little bit of discontent about the Champions League at the time, but not much. I mean, most City fans were certainly looking forward to it. Let's face it, we weren't at that point in time ready for the challenge that we were going to face off the pitch, was it? Never mind on the pitch, that we're going to evolve over the next few years, obviously even till now as I'm doing this. But yeah, me and the lad Mark, my son Mark, were pretty excited to watch this game, and I think most City fans were, as we sat on the third tier of the Colin Bell stand that season. We were in the third tier, so great view, but obviously atmosphere-wise, perhaps not the best. We actually stand in the singing section now for a better atmosphere. But yeah, so it's a great view of what was going on, obviously including the coming out of the teams and the various things. I mean, you got the classic. I mean, I love the programme. I thought the programme was great because you had this black image with a black matte city on it as well, which probably shows up a little bit better on the image that you can see on screen. Yeah, so I did like, you know me and my programmes, I like my programmes. I did like the display of that programme. And perhaps didn't go down so well with most people, but obviously I'll show you this rather than use it as an image on the thing. Obviously we had these things, didn't we, which was obviously for a display. Obviously the date of the Napoli game there on the side. Obviously for the display you could hold them up obviously on your seats for the display at the game. But obviously they turned into the, if you look at the copyright, there's a copyright on it somewhere. Let me have a look. I've seen a copyright somewhere of what it is. Yeah, copyright clap banner. So I mean, perhaps these are guys who did Leicester as well. I'm not too sure, and all those other clubs are doing. But obviously they do so of the clap banner. Obviously the clappers, aren't they? And you know, so you got this thing, haven't you, at the end of the day? So I mean, obviously I think most of the X number of thousand that were given out ended up on the pitch in one way or the other, thrown at Napoli players, etc., etc. But needless to say, it didn't sort of take on with our boy. Our fans are a bit more sceptical, aren't we? We don't like this sort of thing. I mean, it's ideal, isn't it? But no, we just threw them away, didn't we? So I mean, that was just how it was. But yeah, that was the old infamous clappers, which was quite interesting. But perhaps less about that, the better. We'll move on. Yeah, the music gave me the goosebumps. Yeah, of course it did when we first. I mean, hearing that tune and watching City walk out to it was absolutely fantastic with the giant banner, obviously in the middle of the pitch. But obviously times change, and all it wants me to do, all makes me want to do now is jeer or turn me back or whatever. So there you go. Yeah, so it was all set, wasn't it? All set for a glorious return to the top table of European competition. Difficult group. It was a difficult group, but we were optimistic. Let's say. And after 4 games in the Premier League, we were actually had won all 4, but obviously we were just behind United on goal difference. So we'd started really well. Napoli themselves had just got back into this competition after a couple of decades absence, so Napoli as well had a lot to play for, and there were no. I think they finished 3rd in the Italian league, Serie A, the season before, so it was not going to be an easy test. Not going to be an easy baptism, wasn't it, in this game? Crowd of 44,026. I think it was capacity. Obviously, you got the allowance for the rows of seats taken out for the Champions League. 2,533 boisterous Italians. Let's be kind and say they were boisterous. I've spoke about these European fans and the zombie chanting, I call it, but some people think it's great. I don't particularly think it's wonderful. The starting 11 that night, we had Hart, Zabaleta, Lescott, Company, Kolarov, Toure, Silva, Dzeko, Barry, Nasri and Aguero. And we did actually see that night a certain Mr. Johnson came on for Nasri on 75 minutes. Geo Clichy came on for Kolarov on 75 minutes. And Tevez came on for Dzeko on 81 minutes. Well, how did the match go? Well, I think we know the score, don't we? But I've got a little... What I'll do, I'll leave it to Mr. Tom Parrish, who writes for the King of the Kippax, and looking at the King of the Kippax October 2011 issue, issue 191, King of the Kippax. Yeah, I'm just quick look at how he perceived the game. Mr. Tom Parrish, obviously a big City fan, as you know. Exhausting, enthralling, exhilarating. Both teams mark their return to the European Cup with great performances. Forget what the media tell you, we've both been here before. City waiting a lot longer. Only this time we don't need to go to Napoli next week and win just to stay in the competition. Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you think back to Fenerbahce, we had to go there and do something, didn't we? Unfortunately, it didn't happen. First half, we tried to take them to the cleaners, especially early on with great movement from our front 4, forcing 3 cynical fouls and bookings, but we just couldn't push on and get the ball. Lavezzi gave us a scare, leaving VK for dead to loop his shot onto the bar. Yaya was unlucky to hit the underside of the bar soon after, but he knew full well he should have scored. Frankly, Kolarov needs to sort out when to pile forward and when to sprint back. It's great reading these old reviews, isn't it? The players we know and love and what happened to them. He needs to know when to sprint back and cover. He spent most of the first half at the wrong end of the pitch, just running up and down the wing, chasing the ball. Great free kicks though. Zaba was solid. Perhaps risky giving him giving him a first start in a game like this, and he picked up a needless early booking. But I don't think anyone mugged him, and superb recovering block in the second half. Dzeko was immense again. I can't believe how easily he cuts through the defence with or without the ball. Always one touch ahead of the defenders. Comparisons with Shevchenko are not a miss. Well, Dzeko's always been a lot of people's favourite, even now. Very similar in unstoppability and stature, although I think it's a safe bet that Dzeko ends up scoring more career goals. I think he's probably scored more career Premier goals than Sheva already. Very unlucky that his first half shot killed wide after a superb move from Aguero. Second half, both teams played much tighter as Mancini tried to stiffen things up a bit, but Napoli marked and pressed us as much better, packing everyone behind the ball, leaving no space for Barry in particular, neither of whom... they were definitely targeting Silva and Barry in particular, neither of whom ever had more than 2 seconds on the ball, usually much less. Yeah, they were very, very good pressing, weren't they, Napoli? The constant pressure eventually led to Barry's mistake before their goal, but all too often we were outnumbered on the break after cheaply giving the ball away in midfield. I mean, it sounds very familiar, different manager, different year, but it sounds a little bit familiar, doesn't it? Napoli's front three were so bloody fast about it, we just couldn't catch them. As a unit, the defence coped well, only let down by midfield sloppiness, and therefore the fullbacks getting caught upfield. We missed De Jong. Lescott had the right idea throughout the match. For once, I wasn't complaining about him hoofing it upfield into touch. It was the right thing to do under immense pressure. VK made a superb covering block and a number of crucial tackles, but what was he thinking with that weak back pass at the end? I have no idea. Well done, Joe Hart, for being so alert. Shame that Lescott didn't stick tight to their goal scorer really, as I thought he was the most obvious target for the final ball. But heck, when you're left 3-on-2 with a quick left footer on the left and a quick right footer on the right and a quick guy running at you with the ball, can't really do a lot about it. Once Napoli scored, we were noticeably more determined. Yeah, from my memories, yeah. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? I mean, these European teams do tend to sort of sit back a little bit and give you a bit more time on the ball. And I've noticed that from the 70s, even when I watch European games. Once Napoli scored, we were noticeably more determined, and what a great free kick from Kolarov. Yeah, it's fantastic. There's some images on the screen with match images as well as I'm reading this. Mancini's changes after a goal was spot on, as we were really struggling to penetrate. I didn't think Tevez did badly. He took the ball into a space a couple of times, but was easily isolated by the swarming Napoli defence. Clichy provided some much needed width and opened up that wing completely. His crossing is just superb. I can't get over what a difference he's made to our game this season. Yes, he still managed to get back to covering defence without any trouble. Mr. Gael Clichy, there you go. Johnson's movement often found space, but the rest of the field was so densely populated that he couldn't do much with it. Sergio was also unlucky to hit the bar out of almost nothing, but either team could have had a couple of more goals. It could have gone either way, so I'm pleased with the draw, as I'm sure are Napoli. I don't think anyone at the match was unhappy about the result of the performance. Definitely not. Certainly we can't complain about any lack of effort or adventure, especially first half, and it was bloody thrilling to watch. That's Mr. Tom Parish. The away fans were brilliant fun. They even had their own version of the Potsnan. I mean, there you go. I mean, that was from King of the Kipaks, Mr. Tom Parish talking about the game. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to leave the final word of that game and that night with our manager, Mr. Mancini. He went on to say, quoted in the press, "I sensed before the game that we were nervous. We all wanted to win so much. Maybe there was too much desire. Now that the game is out of our system, maybe we can go to Munich and relax." Yeah, of course, we were playing Bayern Munich next game, weren't we? So it wasn't a total disaster. And yeah, when we saw this, didn't we? We saw, and I think Tom Parish hinted at it there at the start of that piece. It's not as bad as a disaster as the press would have you believe. Negativity has obviously become the norm on Champions League nights, both in the paper press and obviously Champions League presentation on TV. We know of it's always been a sort of a bit of a downer on City. Never quite build us up when we do well, but they're quick to criticise when things don't go quite too well. And they were all a bit negative about the 1-1 draw with Napoli that night. And that's in general, and that's what we've seen ever since, unfortunately, from the media, both the press and TV. So yeah, that night, similar to 1968, we had a draw, didn't we? Obviously, it was all knockouts in those days. Also, we obviously couldn't do it in Turkey, and they kept us up all night, didn't they, with the Turkish fans with outside the hotel letting fireworks off and various things. So some things never change. I think they're just as bad now, aren't they, Turkish fans? So yeah, City had drawn at home in the first game, similar to 68 back in, so obviously in 2011 we did exactly the same, but we were back in Europe's top competition, weren't we? And we've stayed there till this day as I'm recording this, so that's not too bad, is it? We can't complain about that. It's a little table. That's how it stood after one game. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go into what happened. That's perhaps another moment in time. I mean, you all know what happened basically anyway. So anyway, thanks for joining me for this moment in time. Looking back at the 14th of September 2011 and a brief look at obviously the 1968 as well, Fenerbahce, and say that might be another moment in time one day. That'll be quite interesting. I'll have to remember, try and remember what I can remember, and tell you about my days on the old benches in the Platt Lane and trying to sit in the same bench. And they had little marks on the benches, didn't they? Where you had to numbers, so you had to. Obviously, if you're a bit chubbier, obviously you'd probably go into a seat and a half. But yeah, the good old days, those old bench seats in the Platt Lane. Anyway, that's another story. Thanks for joining me for this moment in time. 14th September 2011, Manchester City versus Napoli, Champions League qualifying game. Yeah, at the Etihad, the very first trip to the top table for City since 1968. Please check my links on screen, and also don't forget, if you like movies and TV dramas, etc., do little vlogs on that as well, so please check the playlist. And obviously, if you follow me on Twitter, I'll follow you back, and if you friend me on Facebook, I'll friend you back on there as well for lots of information I've put on there as well. So thank you very much. And if you're into movies, obviously I have my little website. If you can spend a couple of minutes having a look on there, moviegamenostalgia.com, for old rare DVDs, movie posters and board games. Thumbs up to you. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Please, hopefully you can join me again very, very soon for another Citizen past or present. And please tell your friends. And if you haven't subscribed, push that subscribe button. Please, fantastic. More the merrier. Please tell your friends about this little site. I try and entertain and inform as much as I can. What we're going to do with the rest today, have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your family. Let's all look after each other. And until we meet again, please stay safe, Blues. This is Bernard saying goodbye for now. Bye-bye.